Alright, so with the sudden news of expansion in regards to the world of Avatar by way of new animated shows and films, thanks to the recently unveiled Avatar Studios, which we covered in the last video, fan discussions have flared like the Fire Nation during Sozin's Comet. On one hand, you have a number of enthusiastic fans jumping for joy thanks to the simple knowledge that one of their most beloved fictional franchises of all time is set to release even more content for them to consume. And on the other, you have those who are perhaps a bit more cautionary and or skeptical simply due to the fact that the Avatar series is one that they hold near and dear and would hate to see it tarnished. And as far as I'm concerned, both perspectives are completely valid, as at the end of the day, both sides in theory just want what's best for the work as a whole because they care about it that much. And as such, I'd like to further elaborate on my own sentiments to perhaps ease or enlighten your own, as well as present to you the most likely outcomes. Now for me, I certainly recognize that caution is probably the safer sentiment here. The fact of the matter is, by keeping my own expectations low, it'll be harder to be disappointed if things are less savory. And if they turn out to be fantastic, then great. It's better than I thought it would be. It's easier to make a bad series than it is to make a good one. So probability would certainly be in my favor with this approach. But even still, I am excited. And for the time being, I intend to approach this all as such. And that's not entirely just wishful thinking either. Truly, the heart of most skepticism in this case lies with the Legend of Korra series, a truly decisive one that has been the root cause of heated fan debates for years, and for good reason. The Legend of Korra was a series of highs and lows to varying degrees depending on who you ask, and this is no secret. In fact, I will be the first person to highlight my many grievances with the show despite my enjoyment of it. But even still, I would be remiss to disregard the circumstances which plagued its production and publication. You see, as opposed to its senior series, The Legend of Korra barely had a chance to succeed on account of its underappreciated value. The Last Airbender series was a great one, but at the time of Korra's release, wasn't nearly as applauded as it is today. Those like myself who grew up with the original series were not yet old enough to spread the gospel. Korra had plenty to live up to, but at the time, it wasn't perceived to be as major of an undertaking. And as such, it was handled rather poorly by its publisher more so than its staff. They were unfortunately forced to cut certain corners and undermine their own cohesion. Cohesion being a staple which allowed the Last Airbender series to be one of the most enjoyable viewing experiences possible. You can't exactly allude to or tie in minute details from one season to the next when you don't know if you'll ever get more than 12 episodes total. Which is why for the most part, the Korra seasons were far more self-contained than its predecessors. And these are all points that I would typically overlook when speaking of a series objectively, because regardless of whatever situation surrounded its creation, as a consumer, I'm just left with the finished product. But in this case, that sort of recognition goes a hell of a long way, because in the modern day, Avatar is one of the most beloved fictional franchises of all time, with a now corporately recognized major profitability. To be provided its own dedicated studio to encompass a multitude of works says a lot. They are coming correct this time. In fact, the co-creators of the original series walked away from the soon-to-be-released Netflix live-action project when they found that what was intended for it conflicted with their own vision. And as such, there is a level of artistic integrity here that I can certainly respect. Now, mind you, The Legend of Korra isn't the only Avatar series to be restrained due to frivolous corporate exploits and mishandlings. The Last Airbender missed out on its proposed 4th season on account of that horrid live-action movie. But I believe that through all these shortcomings, missteps, and utter failures, we have been set along a course towards greatness. And that is because all of this is known information. They know how much people love the franchise. They know how people feel about that movie, and they know how people feel about Korra. In the end, they can't afford to mess up, and like I said in the last one, competition is amazing. Perhaps when you were younger you may have debated Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon, but never has it ever been this pressing. Because more likely than not, with cable back in the day, if you had one, you had the other. Not exactly a heated battle there. But as it currently stands, Avatar is set to be a flagship series for the emerging platform that is Paramount+, a streaming service that will have to be swinging against giants like Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, and HBO Max for just a taste of our wallets. If they don't come correct, they stand to fumble the bag tremendously, which is why they opted to establish an entire standalone studio dedicated to proper handling of the franchise. And I would stand to argue that the people behind it, the people who are going to be bringing this content to us, will be Avatar fans, people who have grown up with the series and may have the same grievances as me and you. In fact, if there are any insiders who want to hook me up, you can find me at SliceofOtaku across the web. But anyways, the release of both shows on Netflix have only furthered the popularity of the world, and now we have the suits and ties right where we want them. The Legend of Korra visually, if nothing else, is leaps and bounds ahead of what The Last Airbender was capable of, and that was them balling on a budget. The Avatar has returned, and you can either approach this miracle like Katara or like Zuko. But one way or another, I believe in the Avatar world. I truly appreciate you guys hearing me out, and for even more regular Avatar content and coverage, be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on, because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Avatar content on the platform, this is the best place to be. This is about to be an incredible journey, and I would love for you all to be a part of it. But with that being said, I am SliceofOtaku. Thank you all so much for watching, and have an awesome day. I love you.